For thousands of Royal Caribbean passengers cruising the Bahamas in January 2026, Perfect Day at CocoCay was supposed to be the culmination, the final, carefully planned moment justifying the price, planning, and expectations. Instead, the last day of the cruise turned into a reminder that even the most meticulously planned cruise itineraries remain vulnerable to the power of the weather. On January 15, 2026, two Royal Caribbean cruise liners, Liberty of the Seas and Radiance of the Seas, were approaching the Berry Islands in the Bahamas. Both vessels were sailing identical 4-day Bahamas cruises, having departed from Fort Lauderdale, Florida on January 12th. The itineraries were simple and popular: a short journey into warm waters, one stop in Nassau, and a final visit to the cruise line's private island before returning to Florida. The Freedom-class ship Liberty of the Seas, capable of holding up to 3,798 passengers, made its scheduled voyage from Fort Lauderdale to Nassau on January 13th, where passengers spent a full day in port. From there, the ship set a course east toward CocoCay, expecting to arrive early on the morning of January 15th. The Radiance of the Seas, a smaller Radiance-class vessel with a capacity of about 2,134 passengers, followed the same route and schedule, moving parallel just a few miles apart. By the evening of January 14th, weather conditions in the region were already deteriorating. Winds over the Berry Islands were steadily intensifying due to a weather system moving through the northern Bahamas. Forecasts showed sustained winds of about 35 miles per hour, with stronger gusts near exposed shorelines and docking zones. Although both ships remained stable at sea, the real danger lay not in the sailing itself, but in the approach to the port. Perfect Day at CocoCay relies on precise maneuvering during docking and the operation of support vessels. When wind speeds exceed approximately 30 miles per hour, the options for safe maneuvering narrow drastically. Strong crosswinds can push a vessel sideways during its approach, increasing the risk of collision with piers, mooring structures, or other ships. In such conditions, even modern propulsion and stabilization systems cannot completely eliminate the danger. Early in the morning on January 15th, the final decision was made. Neither Liberty of the Seas nor Radiance of the Seas would attempt to dock at CocoCay. The decision was based solely on safety concerns, but the consequences were immediate and far-reaching. Nearly 6,000 passengers learned that the last and most anticipated stop of their cruise had been canceled. Unlike some itinerary disruptions, there was no alternative port within a safe distance and time constraints. The geography of the Bahamas and the timing of the cruise left few options. As a result, both ships remained in open waters all day, moving slowly through the region before setting a direct course back toward Florida. For many passengers, the disappointment was compounded by the very structure of the cruise. These 4-day cruises are marketed around the island of CocoCay as the defining event. Access to private beaches, water parks, cabanas, and exclusive shoreside amenities is central to the appeal. Without this stop, the cruise effectively turned into a short journey around the Bahamas with only one port visit. The financial implications also became part of the frustration. Typical prices for such itineraries range from $450 to $900 per person, depending on the ship, cabin type, and booking period. Factoring in drink packages, shore excursions, gratuities, and additional onboard services, many guests had invested over $1,000 per person in a cruise where the main attraction was never realized. Despite the widespread disappointment, the situation on board remained calm. There were no reports of injuries, damage, or emergencies. The ships continued to operate as normal, and the crews maintained standard onboard operations while the vessels spent the day at sea. It was not comfort or safety that was lacking, but the experiences passengers had counted on when planning their trip. By January 16th, Liberty of the Seas and Radiance of the Seas returned to Fort Lauderdale, completing their abbreviated itineraries without ever having set foot on CocoCay. The strong winds that had dominated the region the day before gradually subsided, but by then, the opportunity had been missed. The cancellation served as a quiet but powerful reminder. Even in an era of private islands, controlled environments, and billion-dollar cruise ships, the ocean remains indifferent to schedules and expectations. On January 15, 2026, The winds over the Bahamas were strong enough to cancel out marketing promises, ticket prices, and carefully crafted itineraries, leaving behind a story not of disaster, but of nature's uncompromising power at sea.